The SADC Observer Mission report on the Zimbabwean election has been handed over to Hakainde Hichilema, the chairperson of the SADC Organ on Politics, Defense and Security Cooperation. The SADC Observer Mission has since expressed its reservations on the recently concluded harmonized elections. The regional observer team flagged voting delays, the banning of opposition rallies and bi-state media coverage as concerns. For some analysis, we're joined now by the Executive Director at the Center for Policy Dialogue, Dr. Simutanyi. A very good evening to you, Dr. Simutanyi. Thank you so much for speaking to us. I believe you are privy to the contents of this final report. What have you seen of it? What exactly does it say?
Good evening, Sapiso. Good evening. Thank you for having me. There's been so much discussion around the preliminary report. I think the report is a preliminary report. And I've heard of accusations that the head of the mission is biased and so forth. But I think following media reports, for some of us, I did not participate in the observation in Zimbabwe. But I followed the media reports. Various media organizations, how they cover the election, starting from the campaign period up to the election period, which took about 2 days. And I think the report from the SADC Observer Mission appears to me to reflect what really transpired. We heard of challenges to do with voters, ballots. You know, there are no ballots. People were in the queues for a long time, even in Harare. And imagine in Harare itself, people could not vote. It took 2 days to vote because there are no ballot papers. Other than that, I think there were complaints about the voters' roll not having been availed to the political parties and the candidates ahead of time. Then we've also heard about, we heard about the fact that the opposition were not allowed to, were prevented from holding rallies. So to a great extent, the report of the SADC Observer Mission it mirrors what also has been said by the African Union Observer Mission and the Commercial Observer Mission. I think they almost said the same things. What I think is different, is that this is the first time, maybe in a long time, that the SADC Observer Mission has actually called out the member states that the election has not been free and fair. When we are accustomed to reports of the SADC Mission always, saying the election was free and fair, and so forth. But I think this is the first time that this report of SADC Observer Mission is actually departing from what has been established as a norm.
Before we run out of time,
yes.
So I want to understand the final report. Does it make any recommendations, particularly when it comes to political reform? You understand that the SADC panel of elders also visited Zimbabwe recently. So is there an attempt to try and create or fashion a way for reconciliation and inclusivity?
Yes, it does make recommendations. It talks about the need to follow the established law. Because one of the things that the report points out is that the government did not follow established law, that is the Constitution of Zimbabwe, the Electoral Act of Zimbabwe, and of course the SADC principles and guidelines on governing democratic elections. There was a departure from that. So it makes a recommendation that this should be done. And in the area of media coverage, again, the recommendation is that the government should follow the stipulations that are in the SADC principles and guidelines for governing democratic elections, that actually the national broadcast and the Zimbabwe Broadcasting Corporation should cover all political players and not only the ruling party. And where they cover the opposition, they should not only cover them in negative terms.
Thank you so much for speaking to us. Unfortunately, we have run out of time. Much appreciated. That is Dr. Simutanyi, Director of the Center for Policy Dialogue.